Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah for joining me on this week's An-Nur the Light. The world of art is the preserve of those with a fair degree of talent. It takes skill, patience, and commitment to create a piece of work that expresses the artist's view. We found two young Muslim women whose journey are at different stages, but they share a common love for art.
The role of art in a society has always been to reflect the visual image of those who occupy the space during a certain time and place. Art, therefore, has become one of the most important commentators on a period or era of human life. In Islam, it has enjoyed great significance and continues to contribute to the memory of Muslims wherever they find themselves.
I've been drawing since I can't even remember, I was very little. I've always had an interest in art, drawing, sketching, crafts, and I think that's where it all initiated for me. It was my happy place. My art it's a perception of me. It's how I bring my personality out. I've obviously evolved over the years. I started with florals and normal basic abstract art, and then as I got inspired with different pieces, I would then change my art accordingly. And Dutch pour, acrylic pour was something that I really found an interest and liking in.
For upcoming Muslim artists, Haneem Davids and Sakina Parker, the time to showcase their work is just about right. These young women are creating two completely different styles that will be left behind for history to retell.
I actually originally started my journey through art in grade 2. Our teacher gave us some chalk paint and she said, go creative, do whatever you want. I remember painting this rose on a hill with the sky. My parents still have it framed in our house. From there, it wasn't really that big of an impact in my life until I got to high school. And I started taking art as part of my mainstream curriculum. We learnt about artists and the eras they grew up in and what influenced them, and it was just so inspiring to see them create such beautiful things out of such hardships. And from there, my love for art just kept growing.
Choosing art as a career has not been very lucrative for many people. Most pursue it as a hobby, but Sakina has managed to trade her day job for a paintbrush and canvas.
It was a hobby for a very long time. It was definitely a hobby for a very long time. I used to stand at markets. I used to stand on the side of the road, 7th Avenue, Kromboom Road, to sell my art. And now even though it is a business and it's a form of income for myself, I still find it as a hobby. I still enjoy what I do. So it's not really work in essence.
Hani B, as she calls herself, has taken her art from the sketch pad onto the nearest hall. One of her latest projects has been in Salt River, where the threat of gentrification looms large, and her murals may be the only thing that's left for this community in time to come.
I applied for the International Public Arts Festival in 2020, at the end of 2020, and they give us a theme each year. So this year the theme was 100% sustainable. And every year you'll notice, if you ever come visit Salt River, that every piece from this year has something to do with that. I wanted to focus on pollution in marine life. My brother Dakir is very much interested in the topic and wants to become a marine biologist, so he influenced my choice. So I wanted to focus on marine life pollution specifically because it's a topic we all know about. We see it, but we aren't confronted by it every day. So it's just something that sits at the back of our minds. We don't actively do anything to stop it. So I was hoping that by depicting something like this for everyone to see, it would at least get someone to think or hesitate before they litter.
Sakina focuses more on canvas paintings using a particular technique and method, while Haneem is experimenting and enjoying it.
So Dutch pour is basically a focal element of acrylic pouring. Acrylic pouring is an all-over design, and Dutch pouring is it's more focused. And I do have people looking at my work and having very different view of it, very different images that they see. For me, it's just expression. I don't have an idea of what I'm going to do before I do it. I don't know what what my piece is going to end up like. I just go with it.
Art has always just been a way for me to express my creativity. And I honestly didn't expect to get to this level anytime soon, but I am very grateful for it.
For Haneem, art is not only about expression, but also a consciousness. The Salt River Project allowed her to connect with people who've grown up and lived in this area almost all their lives.
You'd be surprised how many little kids actually come up and they come running and they want to help you paint. I've actually had a few children from the community run up to me and be like, "Oh my goodness, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I'm part of the festival. I'm busy painting. Do you want to come help me?" And then they'll come help me, maybe add a color here, or just add a little blob of paint there. And it's nice. I love having them involved because now they can walk past this and be like, "Look, I helped with that. I did that," and something to be proud of in their community.
As these young artists continue to grow their portfolio, we are reminded that theirs is an important contribution in the story of Muslims in South Africa. All through the ages, the artist has depicted the life of people, places and things, and in doing so, created a visual storytelling of the time. Sakina and Haneem are doing the new historians of an old method that will be accessible for generations to see.
Our mind, body, and soul are all interconnected, and it pays to take care of it in a holistic way. Zainab Ebrahim has put together a series of segments that aims to help in this regard. Let's hear what she has to say.
I greet you with the universal greeting of peace. My name is Zainab, and today I'll be speaking about forgiveness, the act of forgiveness and the benefits that it has on our emotional well-being. So studies have shown that the act of forgiveness not only benefits our emotional well-being, but studies have shown that it does improve our physical health as well, and it has proven to reduce the risk of heart disease, cholesterol, and high blood pressure. So whether it is a small argument you've had with your spouse, or whether it's long-held resentment that you've had towards a family member or a friend, the act of non-forgiveness has deep effects on our well-being, deeper than we realize. So why is it so hard to forgive others? What we've somehow believed or told ourselves is that by forgiving somebody, we're condoning the behavior. And those are two separate things. We have the ability to forgive someone without condoning the behavior. But when we do forgive, we're choosing to let go and set ourselves free. I'm sure either you've said it or you've heard someone say, "I'll never forgive so-and-so for what they've done for me." And understandably so, based on what you've experienced. However, the belief then is that somehow by saying that, the other person's going to suffer. And that's like drinking poison, but expecting the other person to feel the effects. And that's really how impactful non-forgiveness can have on your own emotional well-being and your own physical being. So I encourage you to make a firm intention to want to let go of past hurt, past resentment, and choose to forgive those that have wronged you. Many of us do not forgive ourselves, and we are so hard on ourselves and we put ourselves down, and the effects of that can be really devastating because non-forgiveness of ourselves is usually coupled with guilt. And guilt is all about the ego, me, me, me. And usually guilt loves pain. So you'll notice that years later you start experiencing body pain. And my suggestion would be, if you are experiencing pain in any areas of your body, to really check in and see, okay, what am I holding on to? What am I refusing to let go of? And then make a firm intention to want to let go. So I do understand that many of us have gone through real traumatic experiences, and it's not as easy to just forgive the person. And there I would really strongly encourage you to see someone, because there are so many tools available to be able to release past trauma and really heal from past events, because the truth is they are just events. They don't define who you are today. So the quicker and easier you can get to a point where you release those negative emotions and release the pain associated with past events, the better it'll be for you and the healthier you'll be in all aspects of your life. For those that want to start today, I would suggest making a firm intention to forgive. For me, that's really important. And it's not just about saying, oh, I forgive so-and-so. Make a firm intention to really want to let go of the past and heal. I have a tip that I'd like to share. So if you have made an intention to want to let go and forgive somebody, my suggestion would be to really just close your eyes, picture the person in front of you, and then say, I am sorry. And again, you're not condoning the behavior, but you're saying and apologizing to yourself first. And then you can say, please forgive me, asking for forgiveness from yourself first. And then you can say, I love you. The act of love transmutes any negative energy, and that is why you're saying it. And then you can politely say, thank you. Gratitude, appreciation is the greatest act of receiving. So just to rephrase, it's I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And you can say that in any order you like. The other affirmation that you could use is in the moment that you are feeling down, it's just to say, I forgive myself, I forgive others, and I choose to live my life free and happy. So I trust that this has been beneficial, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Wishing you a pleasant and blessed week ahead.
Our topic for this week is all about the benefits of learning the religion of Islam in your mother tongue. We got to visit with the Muslims of Xhosa descent to see and hear how they are doing it.
The growth of Islam in South Africa continues at a steady pace as many people get to learn more about the religion. In townships particularly, a new breed of ulama are administering to the local community, and this has given them a better understanding of their duties and responsibilities.
Islam within the community of Eastern Cape is pretty steady and growing a little bit faster than in the previous years, due to the fact that people have managed to embrace the change. The challenge that was there was people were afraid to separate the culture from a religion in the past. But when you look in the present day, it has become easier for people to know that there are two entities, culture and the religion. So many people have managed to understand that a religion is something that you need for your spirituality, whereby culture works more with your traditions. So at least with that in mind, Islam has been embraced within the community, and many people, through the media, they've also learned that Islam is pretty a beautiful religion because it has some affiliation towards the culture of the Xhosa people themselves.
Knowledge of Islam comes firstly from the Quran. One way in which Muslims can access this is to be able to read. After many years of hard work, a Xhosa translated Quran is now available.
Firstly, when we look, majority of the Xhosa people were people who were not predominantly communicating in English. Majority of the African people spoke in Xhosa language. So you found that to carry Islam to them, it was way difficult, especially when you speak a language that is not the communal language they understand. So the need of having information in their language to portray the image of Islam made it easier for us to do homework, communicating with those productions that translate languages in order to create some of these languages that are available. So at least when we manage to understand that communities like Joburg, you find that in Durban, having to work with also IPCI as a sister organization it made it easier for us also to get different literature in different also languages. That made it easier for us to communicate with our people within the Eastern Cape itself.
Walk-in centers where Muslims can interact with the local ulama or find literature on Islam have also become quite beneficial. A steady stream of people visit on an almost daily basis, and there's always someone on hand to answer questions.
Language is very important. You see, for example, for us, when the people who have colonized us, they used language in order to colonize us, and so that we look inferior. So language is very important. Now, if I invite a person to Islam and telling them that Muhammad was sent as a mercy unto mankind, that person will ask, but you speak in Arabic, you speak in English, where does my language fit in within the spectrum? And then I'll be able to tell you, look, we have a Quran that is being translated in your own language in order for it to understand it. So he was sent to everyone so that then we were able to learn it and be able to translate it in so many different languages. Hence, it was important for us in order to invite people, especially of Xhosa-speaking people. They had to try by all means and translate the Quran in the indigenous language.
Sheikh Nkomo, together with other ulama, are at the forefront of efforts to ensure Muslims are well educated on the religion. He hosts a weekly radio show at the local Muslim radio station that also helps reach the masses.
The radio show, it's more on an inspirational basis. We do understand that not everyone is capable of reading. So because of that, the radio works as a mediator for people who prefer to listen than to read material. So we created a show called Journey into Islam almost 7 years ago, and I happened to be running the program, creating the content with this radio program for the past 7 years now. Journey into Islam has worked to engage with those who have reverted to Islam, bringing them to the show so that it can be an encouragement to someone who's failing to make the decision due to conditions that they are having within their families. Maybe someone needed a little bit of a boost. The radio show would do just fine. Somebody who embraces Islam, we invite them to the program so that they can share what brought them up to have that courage to take the Shahada, which led them to Islam. And through this inspiration, somebody, by listening, they will think that I was in the same position. I'm capable to take also the same stance that this person has taken, and I can also become a Muslim. Because most of the people that suffered the most in terms of Islam here in the community feared the stereotyping that is within the community, whereby when somebody reverts to Islam, leaves their former religion, they are given names. And some of the people are scorned too, and some of them, they are they are disowned from their homes, to an extent that the center worked sort of like as a mediator between such families, whereby we tend to make the families aware that being a Muslim is as equally as being in any other faith. The only difference is the highlights of understanding a religion is different, particularly with Islam, as we understand it to be in the purest of its forms, undiluted, whereas other religions, we give them also the differences between Islam, Christianity, Judaism. And by understanding that, some families have embraced their families and they've accepted that being a Muslim is not anything painful after all.
In the past, getting access to information around Islam was limited to mostly English and Afrikaans. Now more and more booklets are being printed in the local language, giving greater access to Xhosa speakers.
When you read Quran in English, obviously it's a secondary language, so there would be hassles and bustles within the language. But alhamdulillah, with this Xhosa Quran now, that has been simplified. It has been put in a very simplified Xhosa so that everyone could be able to understand it in whether you are a graduate, whether you are in high school or primary, or you You are unlettered, but as long as someone has read it to you, you'll be able to understand it. It's grammar. It's not that a difficult one. They didn't put it in a difficult isiXhosa. They have simplified it for everyone to understand it.
Madrasas are important learning centers, and it is here that the religion gets taught on a daily basis. Here too, local mu'allimas are giving class to young learners and helping them on their journey.
I'm teaching them Arabic, but the part of how they can read Quran, inshallah, if they may be like Alif, starting by Alif up until they finish the Yasin al-Quran, that is our part 1. And then fiqh, about the cleanliness, and the aqaid. That's what they told. They know. They must know, because where there is cleanliness is where you will find the Muslim, because that's what I'm always telling them, to be clean, how to wear. What is the difference between Islam? It's about Islam.
This history of Islam in South Africa has a new chapter that is being written by the indigenous language speakers of this country. They now have their own ulama, their own literature and their own mosques, where the religion is practiced in language they are more familiar with.
As a Nguni-speaking Muslim myself, I have to add my voice as to how great it is to be able to understand and learn Islam in this way. May there be more undertakings of this nature so we can truly benefit all of humanity. Kinna mari mukwanda, kire ari bueri bonaneng hape. Assalamu alaikum.